Hi, Jim Milady, talking to you from Coldwell Banker, Milady up in Eagle River. Say today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Zillow. Zillow has been around with us for about 14 plus years. At least that's what I remember them coming around. They started off as a very, very small player. They didn't just jump to prominence, but they gained ground because they were very, very good at marketing. They were very, very good at innovating. They were very, very good at listening to consumers as to what the consumers wanted, much more so than Realtor.com, which was the largest website at the time. Zillow today is by far the biggest website out there. I believe it's like 60% of all internet web traffic Zillow controls. There's one feature that is not well liked by realtors and agents. It's called the Zestimate, and that's what this short piece is about. The Zestimate is an algorithm. It's a math formula that looks at a whole bunch of different factors, and that's proprietary information, so I'm only guessing at what Zillow actually goes into their Zestimate. But I'm sure they're looking at like assessed value, fair market value, whatever value that the public entity, the government, the city, the town has made available to them. They also will look at the aggregate values for the towns. So if you have here in Eagle River, if there were 60 properties sold, they'll look at all 60 and they'll try to make a trend analysis one way or another. And they'll just look at the inflation rates, and they'll maybe look at a few other factors like days on market. And they'll throw those all into this very, very complex formula called an algorithm, and they will come up with something called the Zestimate. The bottom line is that there are no human beings involved with this estimate. It is a robot that's made this sort of estimate. It has no human hands attached to it. It's a totally automated system. Is this important? In my mind, yes, it is important. The weakness of the Zestimate is, let's say, I'll give an example. Let's say you're going to price homes in a suburban subdivision, say Brookfield or something. There may be 23 bedroom, 2 bath homes in a specific subdivision, and they will sit there and say, well, a lot in that subdivision goes for $50,000, and we get $84.25 per square foot in that subdivision. So therefore, the value for that 2,000 home will be $230,000. The Zestimate will be a reasonably accurate estimate of that value, but it leaves off a whole bunch of factors. It leaves off, say, if you have granite countertops. It'll leave off things like if you had a finished basement that you forgot to tell the municipality that you finished the basement. Those are big deals. The Zestimate, the problem with it in the rural areas that we have with the Zestimate is that it does not differentiate between on-water and off-water properties. A big deal. We can see this if you go to Zillow's site, and you'll sit there and see off-water properties are overvalued versus the on-water properties, which oftentimes will be undervalued. It doesn't take into account like granite countertops. It doesn't take into other things. So, but I'll take a quick look at just a few in my area here in Eagle River for us to take a look at here. First example I look at is 1016 Tyson Road, which sold for $840,000. It had its estimate of $1,651,606. So actually, in this case, it was 100% high. The second example is 5219 Twilight Lane here in Eagle River. It had its estimate of $828,000. It sold for $684,500. So it was actually 17% high. The next one example I have is it sold for $547,000, had an estimate of $478,000. So that was actually 14% low on the low side. And the last example will be a home that sold for $415,000 and had an estimate of $351,316. So it was 18% low. So what can we conclude about the Zestimate? I find the Zestimate to be entertaining. It's a good way to get at least a guesstimate value of a home. I find that the fair market values and the assessed values are more valuable, frankly, here in northern Wisconsin than are the Zestimates. But if you want a true opinion, educated opinion of value, you really should contact an agent, realtor, to come take a look at the house. They'll take into account some of the improvements you made to the house. They'll take into account what type of shoreline, what kind of elevation the house has. It'll take into account comparable properties in the town. And the big problem we have up here, not a problem, but a big thing here, is that all lakes are not the same here. There are some lakes that are worth a lot more in terms of value than other lakes. And why is that? Mostly just supply and demand. So anyways, that's my theory here with Zestimates. Love to hear from you, so let me know if I can be of help. Coldwell Banker, Milady up in Eagle River, Wisconsin, Monaco, Wisconsin, Rhinelander, Manitowish Waters. Thanks.